I know, I wish this had light to it. It reads 101.3 temperature. I got on the got the video turned on because generally it's very hard to capture what pain, very powerful pain, does to the body's reaction to it. uh, being being in shock. Body, they know, can't handle that level of pain. They know it. And they know what it does to the immune system, cardiovascular system. They know it. They know it. I got to wear these glasses. I'm not wearing an eye patch. And yeah, right after that, I did the video about the amount of pain I am in with this tumor. I have some lidocaine that I apply in like patches and try to help me do the best that I can. But I did not want to miss this to show it. Part two, this pain. Yeah, I recently made a saying, put it up on my Facebook page. Pain hurts. It's actually kind of a rubbing in joke from the higher ups. They are mocking those who sit into positions who decide what we can have and what we cannot have. And these are people who have no medical training making decisions. And why I have been such an advocate for people to get off their duffs, roll your sleeves up, and get in here with us. I have been at this since 1986. When I had my surgery, December 21st, 1992, it was a 10.5-hour surgery. Dr. Takanori Fukushima, the world's #1 neurosurgeon. I flew to Los Angeles. He had just come in from removing a brain tumor on one of the queens of Africa. And I'm not talking about those that are out there in the small towns and what have you. This is a queen. And days I'd be in and out of consciousness, tell him how much pain that I was in. And he would tell me, Catherine, the brain feels no pain, but I will give you aspirin. I was on that aspirin up. Doc, Dr. Fukushima, I can't keep down your Tylenol. Okay, I go up to Ecotrin. You know, Ecotrin, they got it coated, so it doesn't upset the tummy. Throwing it up. I'm passing out in our consciousness. And again, he says to me, because Dr. Fukushima is also the only neurosurgeon who could make the path to where my tumor was. My tumor was not in my brain, but we have to open it up to access where it was. And so he says to me, here he is, the top neurosurgeon in the world, the only one who could do that surgery, and I survive it without being paralyzed, without losing memory of who my loved ones, my parents, even me. And he says to me, Catherine, the brain feels no pain. And I said to him, Dr. Fukushima, my brain may not feel any pain, but my skull darn sure does. Okay. I got pain management. I hook up the leads, the EEG leads, and I'm hearing that Nito just scratching up a storm, and he jumps up, and my room, my ICU room was directly in front of the nurse's station, and he was there, and I heard him say, "We got to do something about her pain. Her pain is off the paper. It's going off the paper." And so what does he do? He decides he's going to give me Stadol injection. But where does he give it? Not in the IVs. He gives them into my hips. Because you see, I had a neurosurgeon that should have never done the first surgery. And he knows the damage that that doctor did is a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. In 2 weeks' time, I had huge abscesses on both of my hips. I had received over 100 shots. I was quite awake. My head was the size of a basketball. And I was at this point, my eyes were where I can open them up enough that I could see, make out people. He comes in with this syringe that looks like one that I've used on cattle and horses. And he shoves that in, and he's pulling back on that plungers. I mean, this is a huge. The syringe of it is this big, that big around. The needle, you could easily put a fishing line through it. And all of a sudden, this, and the assisting doctor intern goes, "Air, air." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I had several plates and several screws. If I had known, if I had been told the truth that doctors will mistreat me, they will torture me, because when you have craniotomies, the majority of them will leave a person with trigeminal neuralgia, and doctors will hate you, mock you. They'll try to get rid of you because you will need pain medicine. Without it, you have no quality of life. You're more than likely going to take your life, because trigeminal neuralgia has a nickname. The doctors, medical the medical license, call it the suicide pain, and say that there's no other pain that has caused more people to take their lives than trigeminal neuralgia. The second best thing that he did for me was to tell me not to let anybody operate on that nerve. And I would find out down the line when I got the neurosurgeon's journal that came out 3 times a year. And I'm not going to tell you how I got that, but it just so happens to be in there. There was a story about how they tried another procedure on the operating on the trigeminal nerve and the same results over the years, the exact same results. 4 to 6 weeks, no pain, heaven. But then, not only does the pain come back, but it comes back even worse. What do they have to do? Do another surgery. 4 to 6 weeks of blissful, pain-free blissfulness. And then slam. Oh, it's even worse. Back in. So they're cutting. And they're cutting. An anesthesiologist that I found to help me said that he had a patient they did it 36 times on, and he hasn't heard from him in 4 months. And he figured, yeah, he took his life. Dr. Michael Burdine, he's retired now. He's the reason why that my life became so successful, because I was very, very bad, very bad. And I was treated very horrifically. And as I said, if I had known that that was the way that I would be treated, I would not have had the surgery. People had the right to know the attitude towards certain problems. They deserve the right to know so they can make a decision if that is something that they are willing to take on, hope for the best, or just go, it's bad enough. It's already a horror to deal with this kind of pain. But the thought of me going to these people who are portrayed like they are Dr. Marcus Welby, MD, only to find out that there are a lot of highly functioning psycho and sociopaths. And when Satanism became a religion, now you can't keep the devil out of any place. A 101.3 fever, because the pain was so severe. The shock to my body, I could not handle it. And it's not the only tumor that is fired up. There are a couple others that are very serious with me. This is a pulse ox. You can get these on Amazon, eBay, Walmart. They will show you your heart rate, your oxygen, your pulse. And the interesting thing about this is you don't just put it on and go, okay, that's the numbers, take it off. No, if you have respiratory problems, you need to leave this on. I have seen me go from 93 start dropping down to as low as 82. And when you lose oxygen, you don't think so clearly. So, on top of dealing with the overwhelming pain and then dealing with the fever that is now gripping my body, ravaging through my body, now 92 is not real concerning, but it shows that I'm not getting the oxygen that I should be getting. And that will, yeah, when you get down into the lower 80s, counting to 10, you'll be surprised how difficult that is. But you keep this on and you watch it because it's going to give you your pulse, what your heart rate is, and that's very important. And it will show you, it will flash. But I love watching that cardiac line. Everybody's familiar with the cardiac line, what it's supposed to look like. If you aren't seeing that, it's amazing that I've had nurses that sit there looking at my mother's EKG and go, well, that looks pretty good. And I look at them and I look at that EKG and I said, well, if you think that's pretty good, you must be seeing a lot of really bad people lately. Get them in where you can, folks. Get them in where you can. I'm going to keep this on a little longer. Let's try it on the other finger because of my breathing problems. I had a collapsed lung that was never treated, broken arm that was never treated. It goes on and on. Like I said, I have been fighting for pain rights, and proper medical care rights, helping to protect doctors, hospitals, and clinics. I have saved a lot of them, and there are some that I closed down. I have never really talked about that, but I'm going to let that be known. There are those who thought that I couldn't do anything. Little did they know just exactly how educated that I am, especially when I'm in the state where I got my medical training, so I know the medical laws, and I knew what they were doing was incredibly illegal. And it was an anesthesiologist. I'll tell the story right quick. It was an anesthesiologist, Dr. Dennis Farr. He was at the hospital while he let his PAs run his clinic. He had about 4 or 5 PAs. This one PA I had, he wanted to put nerve blocks in my neck. I really didn't need that. I didn't need that. The medicine that the specialist figured out for me, you would never know that I was as bad as I am. And you would never know that what I'm taking, you would never know it. Many people thought that I didn't have anything wrong with me. I liked it like that. especially with my friends. I prefer them not to be so worried for me. But anyway, one of the risks to having nerve blocks, if it's not done right, is you could be paralyzed from the neck down. Well, if I'm going to have this procedure, if I agree to it, I want the master. I want the doctor, not a PA. I want the specialist, the one who spent a great amount of money, time, and professors and doctors to teach him the correct, exact, precise way to do it, not a PA. And so I said, because he said to me that he would not give me my medicine if I didn't allow him to give me those nerve blocks. And you've all heard that. You all had that said to you, or know someone who has, a lot of people who have. And I said, when I come back next month, I'd like to talk with my doctor about this and see if this is something that he agrees with, because in this state, well, I'll get to it in a moment. Anyway, took some time, but this one time, my mother was with me, and we're sitting in this pretty good sized room. All of a sudden, 5 PAs come in with 3 or 4 nurses and orderly, and they're lined up against the counter. We're sitting over by the exam table chair, and walks doctor, and he leans up against the wall. He's about 5'5". I'm 5'9", and he isn't being professional. He is not being a gentleman, and he had this smirk, a grin, and basically tell me that this will be the last time that I'll be coming. And so I got my mama put her jacket on. As we was walking by, he's sitting there with his arms folded across him and foot up against the wall. You know. I stopped. I leaned into his ear and I said, "I'm gonna wipe that smirk off your face." He's yeah. So when I got home, I called the medical boards and I gave them this doctor's name and said that his PAs are operating his clinic while he's at the hospital. In this state, there are states that the laws mandates a doctor must be in the clinic with their PAs. The PAs, after they get done speaking with a client, comes in, gives info to the doctor, and whatever they converse, should we do this? I think maybe, do this or try that, whatever it be, the doctor must sign off on it. That he read, he knew what was going on, etc., and go on to the next patient. So it was very illegal, highly, highly illegal what he was doing. And I happened to have a friend that, now that was on a Monday. She had a 9 o'clock appointment, and I didn't know that she was going to him. She had a 9 a.m. appointment on Wednesday, and she calls me and tells me that there are 2 agents from the medical boards. They've got chains and padlocks, and they're in there getting all the medical records. And what transpired out of this is that he was fined. All of them were. And if any of them were to ever do this again, that no ifs, ands, or buts about it, all of them would lose their license. You know, I think it was last year that I came upon this one woman in one of the pain or medical support groups that was talking about that she was going to him and showing pictures and stuff. And I thought, well, you're welcome. I'm glad that you're getting the right medical care from him. Because until we had crossed paths, the likelihood of you not getting proper medical care, the likelihood of you or your loved ones being injured, being badly mistreated was very high. I never said anything. Sometimes it's just best not to say, you know. It is 5:10 a.m. and I am in quite a bit of pain still. And my O2 is going down to 92. The fever is increasing my pain. It took me a long time to be able to work my dislocated elbow and broken bones here to where that I can put on a necklace, take it off, chills. Oh dear God. I come a long, long ways. I stayed in the game for a long, long time. I stayed in it for a long time. I don't know. I don't know what I did with the pulse ox. I just had it. Here. Oh well. I'll find it in a minute. Here it is. Good. Oh, yeah. For you who are targeted individual educated, will know the reason why that I just stuck my finger in this left ear. Don't tell the secrets. I really wish it wasn't this way. I really wish that it didn't have to be this way. I got my body so swollen, so toxic. My tumor that's wrapping around my lower body is now 2 3/4 feet long. And it has gone across my lower spine. Standing, walking, sitting doesn't matter. It don't matter. You know, I think I have come. I think I've come as far as I can go on my own. I don't have anybody to help me, you know. I help my family, loved ones. Y'all know. And I'm good, you know. Well, I guess I have to be good with it, huh? I ain't gonna, it ain't gonna be, hasn't been any other way. Hasn't been any other way for me. I was laying here yesterday thinking about my next life and time. You know, my next life. Think I could be permitted to have a family. That the one, my true love, that we can enter into this world. And this time that we both have our health. I have my success. He has his. And be spending 50, 70, 80 years together. Have children. I'm probably more leaning still to adoption because that birthing, all that stuff, I can't do that. I can't do that. I had a friend tell me that he's a very good reader, very good reader. And this is back in early 2000 that he was telling me that about this Irishman that traveled and made his way to Australia. And I was in the fields harvesting potatoes and stuff, and he walked by on riding his horse and saw me. And it was like love at first sight. I could believe that because I had that. Here, we got a few years together, not many, at least. At least I did get them. At least that I got to feel what it was like to be loved, to be so loved, so cared about, and seeing my love's eyes, terrified of losing me or when I did die, because my soulmate stayed by my hospital bed on the cot. Woke at 8 o'clock in the morning, crawled up onto my bed and was calling out to me. My back was to him. So all of a sudden I shot my hands in the air and you saw this bright white light erupting, enveloping all around me and had this blue hue to its edges. And he's telling me, Catherine, I caught you. I caught you. Where I was standing at the door to the room to where the end of the bed was, was a good 8 feet. And I went into a grand mal seizure. Took us to the floor. It knocked out my heart. My green eyes went gray. And he said that he never thought he could scream until that moment. And he said there was a thunder of footsteps running down the hall because I was at the very end. They picked me up and put me in the bed and started doing resuscitation and dragging him out, him fighting to stay. When I opened my eyes and I looked into my babe, my love, hands shaking. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I smiled. And he goes, where is she? Why has she got blood all over her teeth? And I come over there and look. I bit my tongue pretty bad. It's right, the tongue heals very quickly. Come here, babe. Come here, babe. I'm okay. I'm here. I'm here. Never gonna go again. I'll never go again. And I didn't. But Ron did. And I tell you this. I didn't think that I was going to be able to survive that, because Ron was with his sisters at the time, and I was due to be coming up there. I went to my knees and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I grabbed my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. How could this be? How could this be? I seen Ron die twice. And because of my medical background, I saved him. I saved. I wasn't there that day. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Because there's a little more to it. If we would have had proper medical care, my life, our life, would have been much different. And the way that I feel right now, right now, right now, I'm not thinking about anything else. Just right now. I'm really okay. I'm okay with going. I'm okay. There's nothing here for me anymore. There isn't anything here for me. Not anymore. And there is no sense in carrying on being in this kind of pain and having mechanics embezzle me for $3,100. That didn't fix anything. If my truck had been fixed like it was supposed to, I would have made it out of here in May of this year, May 2021. But evil, oh, evil, oh, thou art nothing but a den of vipers. They shut me down because I have no way of getting that truck fixed, and I have absolutely no support from law enforcement, all of them, including attorney law enforcers. But the Elk City Police Department did get their OSHA certified all-weather gear. They went from a $2 poncho to these nice long coats with corduroy collars and paint reflectors, not the tape, the paint. OSHA certified. Has everything. But I cannot get any help for this man who tried to murder me. Didn't fix the brakes, and on a made voyage back home, I was at a construction site when the brakes failed to function properly. And I nearly took out some construction workers and jerked it off of there for the cement barriers, and I'm on the oncoming lane, and I could tell you that the eye color of the driver is blue. And it was a miracle of the angels that I got the truck back over into right lane. Because right there on the edge of the left-hand side road, 10 feet, were gas pumps. Behind that driver that I was about to do a head-on with, there's 3 or 4 vehicles directly behind them, not so far spaced apart. And I could just see them trying to avoid and going right into that gas pump blowing up. And Kelly and Rusty, I've known them for a long time. Rusty, I spent my junior year here in Elk City, and I remember him. And sadly, we lost him a few years ago. They closed it down. I don't have a way out. I don't have a way out. Because they're making sure that I can't get an attorney. I can't get anybody. Four in your corner, Channel 4 News, who is supposed to be, this is a big story, but none of them, nobody will do anything. Nobody will help. So God, Lord, Jesus, he's my brother. Angels, there's no reason for me to be here anymore. My mother is in a very happy place where she's at. She's very, very happy. Pretty much had my complete devotion, care for 41 years. There's just a few years in there where she didn't get it. So I would say about 30 years, 31 years. 31 years, doesn't matter. Cost me everything, cost me my life, cost me having a relationship, it cost me from going on and building a family, building a relationship, going where I want to go so bad. So right at this time, right at this time, that friggin' broken arm. Dislocated elbow. Yeah, it won't go down any further. That's it. I guess I can that. Like that. But then, yeah. Anyway, I'm not permitted to get. There's no reason. There's no reason for me to be here anymore. So my clothes. What follows pain. Now show them. Show our lawmakers. Show them my videos. This is what pain does to the body. And my doctorate was in radiology and gastroenterology. I hold 2 medical records. There wasn't a medical school that I wasn't accepted in, and I'm saying even Baylor, Harvard, Yale, all of them. I was very astonished to find that out. I looked into it and was making calls, and yeah, they knew who I was. Yeah, the doors were open. Okay. I helped Oklahomans get their pain medicines back in 2018, working with Mike Hunter, and I will not talk about. Well, why not? No, I won't. I'm going to protect that person. I won't say. I got them their pain medicine back. We got laws protecting the doctors who write for them. Of course, I pay a heavy price for it because suddenly that I couldn't get one imaging place to do. If I had a broken pinky, they wouldn't do it. When I went to certain doctors, they were very unprofessional, including very ungentlemanly. I would come closer to slapping the daylights out of a person who is being ungentlemanly more than being unprofessional. Because if you cannot be a gentleman or a gentlewoman, then you need to be exiled out of society. We don't need your kind. We don't need your illnesses. We do not need the damage your arrogance costs us our loved ones. So, right quick, I'm going to tell you how to cure Crohn's, how to cure irritable bowel syndrome, colitis. There was a gentleman that I read his work who saw that when you drink from tainted water, like in third world countries, that the quinine, these tablets that you take, they kill those parasites so you don't end up with severe intestinal distress. For the same symptoms, exact same symptoms as Crohn's, irritable bowel, colitis. I was diagnosed with Crohn's in 1986. I read his article in 1999. You cannot get that over the counter in the United States. I had a friend from Australia send me some. I no longer was dealing with the symptoms of Crohn's. Very amazing. It's a shame that I did not find out about that earlier before they started cutting on me, because you can make a lot of money on medically lying to people. But I can't take the credit for that. And I wish I could remember his name, because that was quite a gift. And I am not sharing that to replace the advice of your doctors, who you see. Always seek professional advisement for your healthcare needs. Okay. And I'm going to go now, folks. I'm going to go now. I'm going to get curled up underneath this blanket. I'm going to go get another blanket, get on top of me, and oh dear God, take care, everybody. This is Haraway's woman, Catherine Teleridon Masters, aka TLG. I wish you all the best. I really do. I really do.